I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.
Atkinson and, I'm sorry, didn't I? Let me try that again. There we go. Hey, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and 6 days away. Wow, 6 days away, we got an election. And delighted to have in the studio with us today, David Arrasmith. He's one of the candidates for Jackson County Assessor. Now, how many got your tax bills in the mail? You may not be the most popular thing in town right now.
Yeah, I can raise my hand too.
You know, I'm looking at that and I go, okay, well, some of them went down and some of them went up. So anyway, hi, good to see you.
Thank you, Perry.
Good to have you here. You're running for the assessor's job, and you've been in that office for quite a while.
I have. I've worked with Mike Cherry and Dan Ross and Josh Gibson. They were previous assessors.
Right. So you decided to go for the big one. How's it going? And you got 6 days out. A feel for it yet?
No, you know, I really don't have a feel for it. The primary was, I think the Tribune called it a tie. Right. It was an even draw, and so now that was like the first half. Now we're in the second half, and I'm working hard to get my name out there. We had like a 20,000 undervote in that last election, so there are a lot of people who, in my mind, didn't have the knowledge or the comfort level to make a call on the ballot.
Well, the assessor's job is a big job and it's an important job. How big of a department is it now?
We're budgeted for 31.5 employees. Wow. We've been way higher than that back before Measure 50 passed, when we used to have to do a 6-year reappraisal cycle. We were able to, you know, when that requirement went away, staff dropped significantly.
It's a big job, and the county's growing, right?
It is. It is. We have more permits coming out this year than last year. They did drop. They did drop for a while after you know, when the recession hit, but they're coming back up again, and so we have a lot of new construction. It's pretty evident driving around town.
You've got an incredible resume of business and background. Of course, you've been there as a deputy assessor for quite some time, so obviously you're familiar with the process. Any improvements you want to make?
You know, I just want to keep doing what we're doing and make sure we're doing it as in an efficient, excellent manner. Some of the improvements, you know, big improvements we've pretty much accomplished. We wanted to get go paperless as much as we could. You know, we're not a governing body. We can't. We're not like the mayor and the city council or the county commissioners, where we can decide, well, we're going to have more parks. You know, where we got to deal with marijuana. Our workload is pretty much regulated by statute, but we can do improvements inside the office, like going paperless. If you recall coming into our office, you know, 10 years ago, we had hundreds of filing cabinets, and the public could come in and they'd pull out a file drawer and try to find stuff, and then we'd have to search for the stuff we couldn't find, and now it's all scanned and most of it's online.
That's really good. Mm-hmm. So how does the assessors, how does the appraisal process go? I mean, are you guys doing it on a cycle? What happens with this?
Well, as I mentioned, it used to be on a 6-year cycle. Every 6 years, a county, every assessor statewide had to step on a piece of property and revalue it. Start from scratch. We would throw away the old appraisal cards, start from scratch, and then for the next 5 years, that area would get a new valuation based on a statistical analysis. Did property values go up, down, you know, and if it looked like property values were going up 5%, well, after that 6-year reappraisal, the next year would get a 5% increase, and the next year could get a, you know, similar increase or decrease. Now we're obligated to get out and pick up new construction, so and we have to value stuff on January 1st. So we put off that phase of our work until after January 1st, because something that if we started in December, something we could leave leave that neighborhood, something could be put up on January 1st and we might miss it.
How does the fluctuation of a market assess what you do? In other words, sometimes markets go down. You know, we had a piece of property reassessed and we got it down because the value went down.
That's right, and the recession caused a lot of every property type saw a reduction: industrial property, commercial property, homeowner property. I'm going to argue though, one type of property did not see it, and had I been in office, that reflection would have happened in that type of property too, and that's businessmen's personal property. The tables and chairs, the cameras and stuff get reported every year, and every assessor's office uses a state guideline to kind of assist in this mass appraisal, because there's just you know, hundreds of thousands of pieces of equipment that have to be reappraised every year. So we do it on a mass appraisal technique where we say if it's 1 year old, maybe it's 90% good. If it's 2 years old, it's 85. You know, that kind of. We get a few guidelines, but the state didn't adjust those guidelines during the Depression. So during the recession, so businessmen, while everybody else saw their property taxes falling, businessmen's property tax just went along as normal because the economy wasn't built into those factors.
That's interesting because we're in such a disposable category now with equipment. You know, I mean, things, you know, everything we do here at the Dove, it's got a life, maybe 3 years, maybe, you know.
That's another issue that I have with the personal property valuation. When those tables that I'm talking about, they'll come in and the assessor will put them on a 3-year, 5-year table, but they don't write them down to 0. Those tables go to maybe 30% and stops. And my argument, it doesn't make sense at all as an appraiser to think your machinery and equipment can in year 1 drop, in year 2 drop, in year 3 drop, and then it just stays at that level forever. It never never has any further reduction in value, and there's just no common sense to that. When I get in, I will adjust those tables.
That's wonderful. All right, so how long of a term is this, David?
It's a 4-year term.
4-year term. You've been there. People want to get a hold of you, and I realize we're 6 days out, but you know what? We had one of our news guys down there at the clerk's office. It's just a steady stream of cars, so a lot of people haven't voted yet. But a lot of people, so if they want to get a hold of you, any more questions about the job, what do they do?
Well, best please don't call me during 8 to 5, because
he's working. He's working.
Well, yes, and I could be in some serious trouble doing any kind of campaigning
during your job.
I'm on vacation time right now.
Right.
I'm not on county. I'm not on county time.
Okay.
But call me after work or leave messages on my phone, on my personal phone. You can do that. And I have a website address. I do get. People will visit that and type in a question, and I get that on my personal email.
And that is what?
DavidArrasmith.com.
Arrasmith.com. That's ARRASMITH.com. Well, best to you. Thanks for what you guys do. I know at times it's probably a thankless job. You're probably constantly getting challenged. But overall, David, your assessment of Jackson County, we in good shape?
We're in very good shape. We are measured by standards. They're called, the state sets guidelines. They're called CODs, a statistical term, coefficient of dispersion. And every time a property sells, it's like taking a shot at a target. You know where the bullseye is, and then you know where your bullet hit, and you can, or your arrow, and you can measure that distance. And we measure that distance, and so for this statistical analysis, the sales price is the bullseye, and our valuation is the arrow, and we measure that distance, and we should be very close on all sales. Nobody's ever in the black all the time, but our CODs are very good.
Well, I got to tell you, everything I read about Jackson County compared to the other 35 counties, don't get me wrong, there's some great counties out there. Considering everything, we're in pretty good shape.
We are in good shape, but we're in very good shape financially, and our staff is excellent.
Well, best to you.
Thank you.
And thanks for your service.
I appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back.